Florida is officially closed, is what a lot of people like to say online. After living here for nearly 6 years, I've experienced highs, lows, and everything in between that comes from life in South Florida. So in this video, I'm giving you my honest perspective from a transplant turned 6-year resident. So whether you're thinking about making the move or maybe just curious about what life is like down here, stick around and find out if living in South Florida could be the right place for you. So I wanted to do something a little different than my usual pros and cons style video that I do once a year. And I wanted to give you my honest perspective about what living in South Florida is actually like based off the public perception. And by public perception, I'm talking about my comment section. So I went through my comments and picked the 3 most common topics, which is Florida is overpriced, overcrowded, and full of transplants. And I'm gonna give you my honest opinion from a transplant turned 6-year resident. And we wanna hear from you in the comments of this video, so let us know where you're watching from and what's your perception of South Florida. So South Florida is overpriced. I hear this one a lot. It used to be really affordable for the masses to live here. I say affordable is a subjective word, but I say that in a broader term. It used to be affordable for more people to live here. But like any area in high demand, the stock went up. It's where major businesses are moving, major developments are being built. It's changing from a place to only retire to a place to actually live and work. But I have experienced this to an extent myself. I mean, I'm pretty sure the entire country experienced this to an extent over the last 5 years. But when I first moved here in 2019, I got my first apartment. And it was nice, it was a nice place, pretty small, but it was on the Intercoastal. Now my apartment specifically wasn't on the Intercoastal, but the complex was. I was about maybe a 5-minute walk away. I was paying $1,250 for a 1-bedroom apartment on the Intercoastal in South Florida. I know a lot of you hear that now and probably think that's crazy, but yes, that was just 5 years ago in 2019. After about 2 years of living there, they jacked the rent up over $1,000. Now, even at $2,100, $2,200 a month for where I was living, I was still getting a steal. But it's really all about perspective. Most of the people who are saying that Florida is overpriced are the people who have been here for, I would say, at least 10 plus years. And when the housing and cost of living shot up, the salaries didn't. So I understand their perspective on this. I've helped many clients, natives of Florida, sell their home and relocate to either other states or other areas of the state because of this exact reason. And in some cases, it is unfortunate that they feel like they have no other choice, but some of them were excited to get a fresh start somewhere new, potentially like you watching this video. And if that is you, we'd love to help you. We make these videos to bring value to you, whether you're brand new to the area or have been here your whole life. We'd love to connect with you and see how we could best serve you. So yes, I can agree to this topic to some extent, and while affordable or expensive are subjective words that I don't really like to use, I do resonate with the cost of living increase and the cost of housing increase and everything that has come along with it. Do I think it's a negative? Well, no one likes to pay more for something than what they're used to paying, but it's a part of life, I guess, and it's a part of growth. If you want to be part of a major growing area or a certain type of lifestyle, whether that be with boating, entertainment, art, fashion, or just simply living in a nice house on the water where the weather is perfect 90% of the year with endless opportunity that only you can make happen, a certain investment's going to come with that. And I think many of you who are from a high tax burden area like I was would agree with me that it's very reasonable to expect something like this to happen in a growing popular area. And speaking of growing, let's talk about population growth. Another thing that everybody says is it's so overcrowded here. Since I moved here in 2019, South Florida has seen hundreds of thousands of people move here. And I'm talking net migration. If you don't know what I mean, that's not including the people that left, so it's the positive influx. And the entire state of Florida alone has seen about 1,000 people a day move here in the last couple years. So yeah, you can say that the population has increased a bit. Now, is this something that I've really noticed in the last 6 years? Yes and no. I will admit that certain times of year, like right now, for example, it does feel more crowded than during the summer, but it's snowbird season. And it's funny because I actually noticed the shift this year where I usually say snowbird season, or our season starts somewhere around late October to the end of November. Somewhere in there is when our season starts. And I noticed it this year, literally the day before Thanksgiving, when I just noticed that the traffic was a little bit more than usual and people were driving with more of this I don't need to be anywhere type of pace. Now, maybe it was just because it was the day before a holiday, but I definitely noticed that since that day, there has been a lot more traffic here. Foot traffic and traffic on the roads. This is basically our changing of seasons in Florida. We don't see the leaves change colors. We see the license plates change colors. But this is something that I see in my comment section all the time, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, just about how frustrated everybody is about how overcrowded it is here. Now, I used to visit here all the time as a kid, but I've only lived here since 2019, so I don't know what life was like living here, say back in 2012 or whatever these good old days that everybody talks about before all the Northerners moved down here and ruined things, which we'll get into that in a little bit. But my opinion from somebody who lives here full time and deals with all the traffic driving all over the metro area to make these videos for you, it can be a pain. So yes, at times it does feel a little bit overcrowded here. I'm not gonna lie to you, that's not what I'm here to do. But let's be real, Miami is a major city. Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach are growing, developing cities that are part of a major metropolitan area of over 6 million people. Would you really expect not to have to deal with a lot of people? And to be honest, during the summer months, it dies down here quite a bit. It's actually quite nice aside from the weather compared to now in the winter when the weather's a bit cooler and more people are just down here vacationing, or the part-time residents that come live down here there's just more people here in general. But it's not just the amount of people who live here, right? It's the type of people that live here. It's all the transplants and crazy people. According to my comment section, according to the public perception, I'm sure you've seen somewhere Florida is closed, don't move here. And I get it, I can empathize with both sides because I was a transplant who moved here, and so are probably 95% of the people I know, but now I'm a 6-year resident. So I do understand both sides of the coin. So while I was once a brand new person who was nervous and excited for a fresh new start, I've been here for a while now. I also happen to be in the industry that helps bring people down here, so I'm kind of in an interesting position. But I love seeing the excitement on my clients' faces, the same excitement that I had 6 years ago now. And I can remember back when I was a kid visiting my grandparents down here, just about everybody was from New York or Canada or somewhere else anyway, so this isn't really anything new. So I don't know where all this hate or division online especially has been coming from lately, because let me tell you something, it's all online. I've never had an experience with somebody that I know or an interaction with somebody that I met or even seen an interaction where somebody told somebody else to go back home, go back to New York because they're not welcome here. It's all online. But if I really take a long look at the people that I do know down here, or just people that I've met over time, a majority of them are not natives. The majority of the people that I know, at least, are from somewhere else and have moved down here, whether it was 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or 6 months ago. Now, obviously people were born and raised here. Obviously there's natives here. That's not what I'm trying to say, but Florida's been this way for a very long time. It's been a destination hotspot where people dream to live, not only nationally, but internationally. People dream of owning a home on water here one day. People dream of being able to go to the beach 12 months out of the year and not having to travel hours to get there. People dream of this lifestyle. A certain lifestyle you can only get in South Florida. Not Tampa, not Orlando, South Florida. And no hate to them at all. They're great places. I've been to both of them. They're both on fire. The markets up there are crazy hot right now, especially the Tampa area, but they just don't come with that specific certain lifestyle that people are looking for that can only be found here in South Florida. And I've said this in the past, South Florida is a melting pot. It's just what you're gonna get when you move down here. And I believe that that's one of the best things about living down here is seeing the different cultures, meeting people from all different walks of life, all over the country, all over the world, who all had one thing in common, which was the dream of living in South Florida. And if you find yourself thinking the same way, or maybe you even disagree with me, we want to hear from you. Reach out to us at any time, whether you're buying or selling a home in 10 days or 10 months. We'd love to connect with you and help make your next move in South Florida your best one. In the meantime, I appreciate you watching. and we'll catch you on the next one.